All right, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Yeah.
Um,
Different is good.
yeah, we're going to be talking about Age of Apocalypse,
Okay.
specifically X-Men Chronicles #1.
Right.
This is one that you sent my way, and I have to say, this alternate reality is pretty wild.
Yeah, it's very interesting take.
We've got Magneto as the good guy, Sabretooth with a crisis of conscience,
Right.
and, well, let's just say things don't end so well for everyone.
Yeah, that's kind of a theme in the Age of Apocalypse.
Definitely. So let's dive right in.
Do it.
We're starting off right in the action at Wundagore Mountain. And now for those who need a quick refresher,
Sure.
Wundagore is not your average mutant hangout spot.
Not at all.
It's got a deep connection to Magneto's past.
Right.
In the regular Marvel universe, we know that it's a place brimming with magical energy. And here in this story, this is where Magneto is actually leading his own team of X-Men.
That's right.
Quicksilver, Storm, Jean Grey, even Colossus and Weapon X.
Yep. The heavy hitters.
So it's a total power squad, but what I found really interesting is that he chose this specific location as their base.
I think it's very symbolic. I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, I think it really shows how much this Magneto has embraced his role as leader and protector.
I agree.
He's not hiding in an asteroid or plotting world domination.
Right.
You know, he's chosen this place steeped in history, steeped in power, as a place to train and nurture the next generation.
Yeah, I think that is one of the more interesting things about this version of Magneto. He's still very much a powerful figure.
Oh, yeah.
But he's taken on this mentor role, which is not something that we typically see from him.
And speaking of the next generation,
Yes.
we have a new recruit, Rogue, who shows up.
Oh, right.
And just as things are kind of settling in, bam,
Oh.
news hits that Apocalypse, the big bad of this world, is making his move.
Here we go.
He sends his horsemen to attack Cape Citadel.
Right. And these are not your average henchmen.
No. We're talking about serious players.
We're talking heavy hitters like Sabretooth,
Of course.
but also some lesser-known figures like Gideon.
Oh, yeah, Gideon, powerful guy.
This guy can basically control minds.
Yeah, very dangerous.
And Kandra, this immortal mutant with some serious energy manipulation powers.
They don't mess around.
No, they don't.
It's survival of the fittest.
Exactly, and that's what Apocalypse is all about, right?
Yep.
His horsemen are a reflection of that brutal philosophy.
Totally.
Powerful, ruthless, and completely devoted to his cause. So, immediately, the stakes are incredibly high for our X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
They're heading to battle, but they leave Scarlet Witch behind
Right.
to protect the younger students at Wundagore Mountain.
Yeah, makes sense.
But here's where things start to get really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
During the fight at Cape Citadel, Sabretooth, who's usually depicted as this savage, uncontrollable force, starts having second thoughts.
What? Sabretooth? The guy's like a wild animal.
So what happened?
Well, he discovers Apocalypse's plan to launch nuclear missiles, and he hesitates.
Wow.
Like he has a moment of doubt.
A flicker of conscience.
Yeah.
You don't see that every day,
No, you don't.
especially not from Sabretooth.
It's huge, and it really suggests that maybe, just maybe, there's more to this guy than meets the eye.
Even in this twisted reality, it
Exactly.
makes you wonder what's going on in his head.
And of course, that defiance doesn't go unnoticed.
Oh, no.
Kandra, one of the horsemen, is about to take him out for disobeying orders.
Oh, that's not good.
But Sabretooth manages to convince her to let him fight alongside the X-Men.
Really? How'd he pull that off?
He claims he can prove his loyalty.
I mean, that's a complete 180 from what we'd expect from him.
Yeah, no, it makes you wonder, is he genuine or is he playing some kind of angle?
It's a brilliant way to challenge our preconceived notions about Sabretooth.
Right.
Like, is he truly capable of change? Or is this just a temporary shift in allegiance?
It really makes you think.
Yeah, and the fact that we're even asking these questions shows how effectively this alternate reality forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew about these characters.
For sure.
So while all this is going on, what's happening with the rest of the X-Men?
Well, the battle at Cape Citadel is getting pretty intense.
I bet.
Weapon X, who's basically this berserker with adamantium claws.
And a serious anger management problem.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Oh, he goes after Sabretooth
Oh, man.
and actually severs his spine.
Ouch.
Brutal doesn't even begin to describe it.
No kidding.
But the main event is Magneto going head-to-head with Gideon in the control room.
Okay, now that's a matchup.
And this is where Magneto's leadership and strategic thinking really shines.
How so?
He knows he can't just overpower Gideon, whose mind control abilities are off the chart.
Yeah, those are tough to beat.
So he does something incredibly clever.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He uses his mastery of magnetism to overload Gideon's powers.
Whoa!
Essentially causing a psychic feedback loop.
That's pretty brilliant.
It's high risk, high reward.
Sure.
Stops the missile launch.
Right.
But ends up destroying the base in the process.
There's always a catch.
Always a catch. And just when you think things can't get any crazier,
It can always get crazier.
Apocalypse himself arrives.
Oh, boy.
But here's another shocker.
What now?
He gathers his horsemen and leaves.
He just leaves.
He abandons the unfit Sabretooth.
Wow.
Cold, calculated move that really underscores the whole survival of the fittest mentality of this world.
Yeah, no room for weakness in Apocalypse's eyes.
No kidding.
So what happens to Sabretooth now?
That is the question, isn't it?
It is.
We've got a battle-scarred Sabretooth questioning everything.
Right.
Magneto trying to hold his team together after a major victory that cost them their base. And Apocalypse looming large over everything.
This is getting good.
So what happens next?
We'll have to dive into part 2 and find out.
That's right.
So the X-Men, they limp back to Wundagore, battered.
Yeah.
But they think they've bought the world sometime. They probably let out a sigh of relief as they're approaching, their sanctuary, thinking they can regroup and figure out their next move.
Right, but
Yeah.
this is the age of Apocalypse.
Exactly.
No rest for the wicked.
And respite is a luxury.
Yeah.
These heroes they can't afford it.
Yeah, that sense of relief is shattered pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
They arrive and they find their base.
It's not a welcome home party.
Not at all. Wundagore's in ruins.
It's bad.
And as if that visual wasn't enough,
Right.
they're hit with something far more devastating.
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch is dead.
It's a gut punch.
It really is. And what's even more unsettling is that we don't actually see her death.
It happens off-panel.
Off-panel.
Yeah.
It makes it all the more mysterious and horrifying.
It does.
We're just left with the aftermath.
Right, and the X-Men reeling from this unexpected loss.
Absolutely reeling. So,
It's interesting. The writers made a bold choice there,
yeah.
not showing us the actual confrontation between Scarlet Witch and her attacker, Nemesis. It leaves us with this lingering sense of dread and so many questions.
So many questions.
Like, who is this Nemesis guy?
Yeah.
What's his connection to Apocalypse?
Mm-hmm.
And why target Scarlet Witch specifically?
It's almost like the story is inviting us to fill in the blanks,
Yeah.
Like, imagine the horror of that unseen battle.
It's chilling.
And for Magneto, I mean, this loss has got to be especially devastating.
Absolutely. He entrusted Scarlet Witch with protecting the younger students, and now
they're gone. So,
you can only imagine the weight of that responsibility.
yeah.
The guilt that must be consuming him.
Right. This isn't just a strategic setback.
No,
It's a deeply personal loss.
it cuts to the core of who Magneto is in this reality.
Exactly.
It challenges his leadership, his faith in himself, maybe even his resolve to keep fighting.
And it also shows just how vulnerable even the most powerful mutants are in this world.
That's right.
I mean, in the main Marvel universe,
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah. Her reality warping powers are practically unmatched.
But here she's taken out off screen.
Just like that.
It really reinforces this idea that no one is safe in the age of Apocalypse.
No one.
This death throws a dark shadow over everything.
It does. It's a turning point in the story. It's like a stark reminder that this isn't your typical superhero adventure where good always triumphs.
Right.
This is a world where the stakes are incredibly high.
Yeah.
And the consequences are brutally real.
You can definitely feel that shift in tone.
Yeah, the mood changes.
This event really raises the question, can Magneto and his X-Men even hope to win against Apocalypse when someone like Scarlet Witch can be taken out so easily?
I mean, it's a good question.
What do you think?
Well, it's a question that kind of hangs over the rest of the Age of Apocalypse saga.
Yeah.
It forces us to confront the idea that maybe in some realities the villains do win. Or at least the heroes have to make unimaginable sacrifices to survive.
It's pretty heavy.
It is.
This whole situation really highlights the power of what-if stories, don't you think?
I think so.
It's like the creators are saying, okay, let's take these characters we think we know, throw them into a completely different reality.
Oh, right.
How would they react? Would their core beliefs hold up? Would they even survive?
Exactly. And that's what makes this so compelling for us as readers.
Or in this case, listeners.
Right. We're not just passively observing a familiar story. We're actively engaged in a thought experiment.
Right.
We're forced to re-examine our assumptions about good and evil, heroism and sacrifice.
Makes you think, what would we do if we were in Magneto's shoes?
Tough spot.
Would we be able to lead, to inspire, to keep fighting in the face of such overwhelming loss?
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
But incredibly thought-provoking.
Oh, for sure. It reminds us that these characters, even the ones we think we know so well, have depths we haven't even begun to explore.
X-Men Chronicles #1 does a brilliant job of setting the stage for that exploration.
I agree. We're left with a sense of unease, a sense of impending doom, and a burning desire to see how the X-Men will navigate this increasingly hostile world.
I'm definitely hooked.
Good.
So let's finish this deep dive and see how this all wraps up.
All right, let's do it.
So where do we even go from here? You know, the X-Men are dealing with Scarlet Witch's death, their base is destroyed, and Apocalypse is still out there. Like, how do they even begin to pick up the pieces?
Well, and that's what's so powerful about this story, right?
Yeah.
There are no easy answers.
Right.
No miraculous recovery. It's not like Professor X is going to give a pep talk and everything's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Instead, we see this raw emotion, grief, anger, and just this desperate determination to survive.
And we see that reflected in Magneto, right? He's leading, but it's different.
Exactly. This is not the Magneto we're used to. He's not the fire revolutionary. He's a mentor. A heartbroken mentor, really, trying to hold this fractured team together.
Yeah. And, you know, throughout the issue, we see glimpses of the X-Men we know, but it's like they're twisted, you know, distorted.
Like a reflection in a broken mirror.
Exactly. I mean, we see Magneto's leadership, but it's different. We even see Sabretooth with compassion, but it's all filtered through this what if.
Right. And it makes you question, are they inherently good or evil? Or is it their circumstances that shape them?
Yeah, nature versus nurture. It's a question that, you know, it goes beyond the comic book.
Absolutely.
It makes you think about yourself, your own choices. I mean, what would you do if you were suddenly in the age of apocalypse?
Right. A world that brutal. Would you hold on to your values? Or would you just do whatever it takes to survive?
Exactly. And I think that's the real power of X-Men Chronicles #1, you know. It makes you think.
It's not just a superhero story. It's about human nature. Choices we make when things get really tough.
Yeah. And it reminds us that there's always more to these characters, more to these stories than we might think.
Oh, absolutely. And this issue, this is just the beginning. I mean, Age of Apocalypse is a whole saga.
Right.
It spans multiple comics, and they all explore this alternate reality.
So if anyone's out there, you know, looking for a fresh take on the X-Men.
Yeah, or just loves those what-if stories.
I mean, definitely check out Age of Apocalypse.
Absolutely. You won't regret it. It challenges how you think about good and evil. It's a wild ride.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave everyone with a question. So after seeing these X-Men, so different, does it change how you see them in the regular Marvel universe? Does it make you appreciate, you know, how complex they are? Let us know what you think. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.